It's your boy DJ Newkirk, the king of podcasts. You are now listening to Behind Backstage.
Number one, it's like I wanted to go at Anomaly, I want to go at Sound Oracle, I want to go at so many different daggone things to get at you, family.
What do you prefer?
What do you prefer to go ahead?
Sound Oracle. Anomaly is that's old. I started out when I was like in 8th or 9th grade.
Was you rapping at that time?
I was rapping at the time, and Anomaly died about 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
So me and you gonna have to battle, huh?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
You still spitting though? Yes or no?
Nah. I think I retired from that when I was about 12. Yeah. Early retirement. I was like, I'm nice
early
enough
retirement. Okay. Well, with me, I can't spit and I can't sing. You know what I'm saying? I can produce and I can go ahead and steal some of your sounds and probably make a little bit of music, but I can't do it as good as Au-Dacity, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and give her that opportunity right there.
There you go.
With you, I mean, you said you came from VA, right?
Right, Alexandria, Virginia.
It's got to be something in that water.
Yeah, everybody says that about VA. Yeah, it's a diverse group of producers, for sure.
Yeah. The Tim,
I mean,
Pharrell.
you really want to run it down?
Yeah, we run it down.
Tim, Pharrell, Knotts, Missy, Teddy Riley. I mean, it's just Danger. It's just so many.
Yeah.
Man, so many.
And Danger's down in Miami, if I'm not mistaken, right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he down there, right down in there us. And by the way, just in case you folks don't know, we sitting here in the studio, in disclosed studio right now. I don't know if my man want to go ahead and let anybody know right now, but
we in the cut.
Yeah, we in the cut. See, I like saying that we in the cut studio. But we in the cut studio right now, and with this gentleman right here, I know he got so many different stories he's ready to go ahead and tell us.
Oh yeah.
So where you want to start with that? We want to go ahead and start at when you just actually started in the game, or you want to go ahead and jump in the middle of it, or we want to run through it?
For the sake of time, let's get to the meat and potatoes. We can start in the middle.
Okay.
Everybody usually likes to start from a favorite part, and it's usually the how'd you get on part. Some people start at where'd you get started. Some people like when did you get on.
Okay.
So we can start around the on point.
Okay.
So to run it down, when I was in college, I went to Morgan State University in Baltimore, and the main reason is because I knew a lot of people from New York went there.
Right.
New York was killing the music scene at the time, so what I would do is I would get cool with all my New York friends, and I would go home with them on the weekends. So after about a semester of that, I got my lay of the land. I knew where the record labels were, and then I just started going up there on my own. And I remember the day I was driving around Manhattan. I used to drive around the Def Jam office, and I forgot who else was there at the
Universal.
time.
It was Universal, Def Jam, and all that stuff at the time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember I'm sitting on the corner all the time in my car, and I'm just playing beats all day, like really just Hail Marys, like hoping that somebody would come past and discover me. And so it would be homeless people in the corner. They were making money. I wasn't making no money. I'm like, I don't know if I got gas to get back.
Right.
But lo and behold, one day the Hail Mary worked, and this girl walked past, and she's like, I see you out here all the time in this car, and you playing these beats. These beats are dope. Like, what's the deal? And I ran it down to her. I'm from Virginia. I just want to be heard. Right. And she's like, come upstairs. I'm like,
how often were you like in NYC and actually doing that? I mean, after you learned the scene and knowing where you were, how often were you actually sitting there writing around in the record labels and stuff?
On average, if it's 7 days in a week, I was probably in New York for 4 of those days. And if it's 4 weeks in a month, for 3 of those weeks, I would do that. So I would actually only be in college for 1 solid week of any month.
Wow.
And I would actually only be in class 3 days out of that solid week.
Wow.
So shows you where my priorities were.
Yeah. No, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
But
I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go ahead and continue what you were saying. My bad.
Okay. So anyway, she was like, "Come upstairs," and at this point, I still don't know who she is, though. That's the crazy part about it.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm like, let's go.
Oh, at that time you didn't know who she was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
thought you still, I was like, so you still don't know who she is?
No, so she was like, come upstairs. So I go upstairs, and turns out she was an A&R for Def Jam.
Right.
So I was like, dope. I go in there, I'm hype. I have my, the CD. Just put my CD in, start playing beats. And she's like, wow, these are pretty good. I'm like, yes. And then somebody walked past the office and was like, what's that? And turned out it was Dragon's manager from Ruff Ryders. So she's like, oh, it's this kid from Virginia. He got these beats or whatever. And he's like, dope. Come to Yonkers with me.
Right.
So all this is in one day.
Right.
And he's like, yo, by the way, we want that beat right there. So I was like, yo, dope. So I go up to Yonkers, and I got signed to Ruff Ryders.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. I was over the moon until they folded.
Yeah. That was around the time that Murder Inc. actually kind of went down too, right? It was like all around the same area, right?
It might have been. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I do know it was the 11th hour. It was pretty much over with. And I was like, damn. Okay, so what followed that was years of probably poverty.
Yeah,
I would say.
But I went through it.
Yeah, it'd be the up and
down,
and then it's the down.
Right.
So I'm back in Baltimore, and fast forward a few years, I have a studio, and hood studio. You know how the hood studios are.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I couldn't sell a beat for $100.
Damn.
It was same beats, same type of stuff.
And you already you dropped some fire with Drag On.
Yeah, I'm like, I just got a deal.
What song was it with Drag On that you actually dropped? Which one? Because I like H2O. Was it on the H2O joint?
I don't know what album it was on. It was a song called Dirty Funk. And I used a sample that Common and Kanye used for the food. But this was like 5-6 years before that song came out.
Okay.
And so anyway, the song is amazing. You can look it up on YouTube.
Oh, but we will. I'm definitely going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah.
The beat is still fire to this day. I will say that.
Yeah.
So at the Hood Studio in Baltimore, clients coming through, and it wasn't really happening. And then one day, a friend of mine was like, "You should move to Atlanta. Atlanta's popping." For some reason, even though I had nothing really going on in Baltimore, I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know?
ATL.
I really didn't think about it. You know, once you become stuck in your ways or you have this false mindset, it's hard to talk people out of it. So anyway, I go to my girl's house at the time, and I'm like, yeah, he talking about moving to Atlanta. She's like, bet, let's go. And I was like, definitely wasn't expecting that shit, but okay. So
you would think she'd be like, yo, no, I want to stay with my family and everything like that.
Nah, it was mad quick too. Like 3 weeks after that, like we were out, came to Atlanta, no money, no furniture, just some clothes. I had an MPC and I think some monitors, and that's pretty much it. So the plan was, she's getting a job, I'm gonna be successful in music. It's the worst plan I ever heard in my life, right?
Right. That does. I mean, according to especially now, because everybody think they can go ahead and rap, they can produce, they can go ahead and sing, they can songwrite. Half of these people right now, you be listening to the music, you be like, why are you here right now?
Well, yeah. The thing is, everybody gets a chance to shoot a shot now.
That's true.
Back in the day, you had to be qualified to get on the court to shoot the shot. Yeah. Now you can be in the stands and just shoot your shot.
Yeah, no matter where it goes.
Exactly.
I like the way you went ahead.
Oh man, that, man, I keep them analogies coming.
Yeah.
But
I love them.
So we come down here. She's working, and what I did was, there's a place in Atlanta, Studio Row, off of Northside Drive, and I made a schedule, and I would just drive up and down Northside Drive every day, go to the same studios at the same time every day, and I couldn't get in because nobody knew who I was. So I never got in to play beats. But what I did was, I became cool with all the people at the front door. You know, so I would just come every day and ring the buzzer. What's up, Josh or Jeremy? And we just, we just started talking. And at first it was kind of odd, but then they became cool with me. Especially when they saw people would come out of the studio, the door would open, but I would never try to run in there.
Right.
I'm like, I'm still holding the buzzer talking to him. The door's wide open. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, So one day I was at Silent Sound, which is Dallas Austin's studio, and whoever was at the front desk that day, I guess he was like, man, I had enough of this dude. He cool enough. Come on in.
Right.
So he's like, no one listen to your beats. I'll listen to your beats. I was like, bet. I put them on. I played them for him. And then he was like, wow, these are good. So he played them for an assistant engineer. The assistant engineer played them for an engineer. And from there, it just kind of spread around. So the next day, I got a meeting with Polow at a studio right around the corner.
Okay, just in case y'all don't know what we talking about when we saying Polow.
One of the greatest, yes,
One
indeed.
of the greatest still here. Ain't going nowhere.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
Yeah, if you're sleeping on them, if you're sleeping on them, you better pay attention to them right now.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So I get to meeting with Polow one night. I pull up to the studio, but I don't know him. And unfortunately, I didn't know who was working at the front desk that night. And it's pouring down raining. So I'm out the studio. It's just raining. I'm getting drenched. Now, there's no awning over me or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So after 2 hours, somebody's like, you can come on back. So I go in, I meet Polow, play him the beats. He's like, wow, what is this? This is crazy. So the flip came in when he was like, where did you get these sounds?
Right.
And I'm like, I make them, I collect them, whatever. He's like, cool, do you think you could do this for me? And I'm like, sure. Like, bet. So he's like, cool, let's get it going on. And the greatest part, he's like, how much? I gave him a number. He was like, cool. That was it for me. That's all I
was
needed.
it a number? Was it? I want to be real quick. But was it one of those numbers that was like, of course not crazy, but one of those numbers that you didn't think you would accept, or was it a number like, yeah, all right?
It was the value I knew it was.
Right.
So
okay.
It was crazy in terms of digits, but not in terms of value.
Okay.
So that's why he was immediately like, yeah, cool, bet. So we started working. A few months after that, because he had blown up. This was in 2008, and he had all this Fergie stuff and just mad records. So he went to Interscope in LA. So I started going out there with him. And it just so happened that I'm telling this story in the studio one day, and he's like, oh, you got to tell my man this story.
Right.
So I'm like, cool. We go in the kitchen, this man is Timbaland. I was like, oh, man, this just keeps getting better and better. So I tell the story.
The door's opening up.
Right.
Yeah.
Then Tim comes back in the studio, and he hears the music that's going on. Now, keep in mind, a few months prior to this, I had nothing.
Right.
So now I'm in the studio, and it was Polow, Timbaland, and Dr. Dre. All in the same
And with Dre, too.
Yeah. It was a big studio with 3 separate rooms, and they each had a room. So Tim is like, man, the beats, like, what happened? Overnight, he could hear the difference in these beats. And Polow's like, man, this dude right here. So Tim was real cool about it. He didn't say anything. He's just like, oh, okay, dope. But then he called me that night, and he's like, I don't know what you're doing for Polow, but I need you to do that for me.
For me now.
Yeah. So I'm like, bet, let's go. And that, to make a long story, just as long as it should be, that is how I got my foot in the door.
Timbaland, he was talking about how when he was little, he would collect sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Were you the same way?
I was.
Okay.
I used to collect sounds all the time, just because once I learned about making beats, and even prior to making beats, I figured out, I learned how beats were made, or I kind of got a glimpse of it, and it started with records for me. I'm like, oh, people are sampling records.
Right.
Because I would hear songs that would come out, then I hear the songs that my mom was playing.
Right.
And I'm like, it's easy to put 2 and 2 together, so
Right.
I just started buying records. I have no equipment, no money, and I didn't even know how to get the record to be a song.
Right.
But once I figured that out, before I figured that out, rather, I had a boombox. I used to just go around the house and just hit on stuff and, just record myself doing that.
Did you DJ, though?
I can cut.
Okay.
I'm not like club DJ, mixing
Right.
back and forth, but I know how to cut.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I mean, that's why I was like, because I was like, you tell me you can go ahead, you were listening to the sound shit, the boombox. I'm like, were you trying to DJ? Were you trying to actually go ahead and mix the records at that time?
No, I was just fascinated by the fact that you can do something and then immediately hear it back. I don't know why that fascinated me, but that's all it took for me.
Okay.
And I would just do that. I did that for years before I even had any equipment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then now, I promise you, if it wasn't for her, I never even honestly heard of a sound designer. Now, a sound designer, I'm serious. Like, a sound designer themselves really go ahead. They make their own sounds, of course, but it's more intriguing than it sounds, I guess, in my head, I'm thinking. Because I think that you can actually take one sound and just create a different sound when you go ahead and maybe mash, I would say, something like a freeway, like we listen to the freeway, like we you know what I'm saying, we listen with a freeway and listen to the freeway and then put a sound with that and then be able to make that into a sound that actually somebody can go ahead and be like, damn, that's fire. You know what I'm saying?
It's actually that same way. It's kind of like cooking. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like cooking in a way, in the sense of mixing things together, but it's also cooking in a way of the range of things that you can do. For instance, you can make a nice steak. That's a nice steak.
Right.
Or you can make a county fair bacon burger between two Krispy Kreme donuts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's just a huge range of things that you can do. And I'll let y'all in on the secret. I had never heard of what a sound designer was or knew what a sound designer was when I became one.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Now, you got to keep in mind, when I came to Atlanta, I was a producer.
Right.
I just had a lot of sounds because I
Right.
made a lot of beats, and I didn't know where other people were getting sounds from. So when I met with Polow that night, as a producer, he's like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm thinking that was it. The bonus was, he's like, what's up with these sounds? And I'm like, oh, what, those? Oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Right. That ended up being the main selling point, and the production ended up being the bonus. And the lesson I got from that is, even though you may have things planned out in your mind, how things are supposed to go, you got to give life a little leeway, you know, to kind of guide you.
Right.
Because I would have just messed that whole thing up. Yeah. Had I been like, nah, it's just about the beats. Don't worry about those.
Right.
Because see now, because you sound design, and I want to give a shout out to all the sound designers.
Definitely.
Because really, you guys contribute to so many songs that I could sit up here and I could mess with some of your kids and have it hit out, and you contributed to that just because of the fact that I was using your kid.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So I mean,
I'm in
you
there.
know.
Let people know where the heck you can actually get the Oracle kits from, man. Let them know what's really good. Like, you got sounds, you got so many different drinks, because I know she done gone went ahead and copped a few. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
And I appreciate that. Where to get them from is super easy. SoundOracle.net.
Okay.
Yep. And if you want to hear what they sound like or see them in action, go there or follow me on Instagram at Sound Oracle, on Twitter at Sound Oracle, or Facebook at Sound Oracle, and you kind of get the picture.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to the sounds, it's drums, it's melody loops, it's just all types of weird things. And it's cool to see now that they're in a whole bunch of songs, not just American genres, and it stems from something that I wasn't trying to do.
Right.
Also, tell them what the newest kit is that you have out right now.
The one I just put out is called Cassette Drums. And I'm happy you brought that up because...
Cassette drums.
So
really? No, he didn't do what I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
So what I did was, you know, I make drums all the time, and I do a lot of different types of processing, but all these, of course, were processed with using cassettes. Not only cassettes, but various different cassettes in different stages of life. And I used 4 different cassette players, and 3 of them were broken.
Right.
And that's the way I like it. You know, that's that character, that's that imperfection. So yeah, I made this kit out of that. And the reason why I did that is because my whole love of sound, way before I even knew what a producer was or anything like that, I was 5 years old, and my god sister showed me that you could press play and record, and you could say something that you could listen back to yourself on cassette. So I've always had a fondness for cassette, and it's kind of like me paying homage to how I got started.
Word.
And it's been wildly successful.
Now, I mean, I know we jump into the beginning of, you know, not just the beginning of yourself, but was that the actual moment that you kind of, where you felt something about music?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was it. Yeah,
okay.
I was between 5 and 7. I don't know the exact age, but I remember the day. And I was like, that's it for me. Yeah, that was it.
That's after that record player. So now with the records now, were you doing any sampling or anything like that?
So what I was doing was I was creating loops on cassettes.
Okay.
So you had the, everybody's mom had the record player on top with the tape deck joint on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I would play part of the record, record it, bring it back. Yeah, I had to pause it perfectly, and then it come back in, unpause it, and I would do that for about an hour per pass, and then I would find something else and put that over top of it and dub that to another tape. It was a train wreck, but it's how I learned. But my thought process then of how I do stuff is my same thought process now. I just have better equipment to do it.
You got the audacity to